The call beyond your limits. Imagine for a moment that the walls around you are not made of brick, but of belief. Every ceiling you have ever felt pressing down upon you is not physical. It is the weight of your own assumptions. You were not born with these walls. They were constructed from the stories you have told yourself, the voices of others you accepted as truth, and the fears you nurtured more than your dreams. Tonight, I ask you, are you willing to leave this prison behind? Are you willing to let go of the comfort of chains so that you may step into the infinite? For nothing less than your destiny depends upon your answer, breaking the spell of your present state. Listen closely, for what I am about to say may strike you like a thunderclap across the silence of your soul. You are not what you appear to be today. The life you see before your eyes, the circumstances you walk through daily, and the limitations you have grown so accustomed to, they are not your true self. They are nothing more than the shadow of yesterday's imagination. Like a garment you have worn too long, they cling to you not because they are eternal, but because you have refused to take them off. Consider for a moment the story of a bird raised in a cage. For years it pecks at its seed, flutters its wings within the narrow bars, and comes to believe this tiny world is all there is. One day the door is left open, yet the bird does not fly. Why? Because it has mistaken familiarity for truth. The open sky terrifies it, not because the sky is dangerous, but because the bird has been conditioned to love its chains. My friends, that bird is you, and the cage is the set of limitations you currently call your life. Every thought you have accepted as permanent, this is just who I am. I could never achieve that. My past defines me. I have gone too far or waited too long is a bar of that cage. And yet, here is the great revelation. The lock was never real. The only power holding the door shut is your belief that it cannot be opened. I tell you, reality is not as fixed as you think. It bends, it reshapes, it rearranges itself according to the images you hold within. What you see now is simply imagination solidified, an echo of your inner world crystallized into form. If you dare to imagine differently, your world must obey. But here lies the challenge. Before you can rise into the life you long for, you must be willing to give up your present limitation. This is the stumbling block for so many. They ask for abundance while clinging to the identity of lack. They long for love yet rehearse the story of loneliness. They pray for health but speak endlessly of illness. You cannot serve two masters, the old state and the new. The mind is not a divided kingdom. It must enthrone one vision and cast the other aside. To step into freedom, you must willingly let the old self die. Let me paint this picture. Imagine standing before a wide river. On your side lies the land you have always known, familiar, predictable, and small. Across the water stretches a land of promise, rich fields, open skies, endless possibility. Between the two there is no bridge. To cross you must step into the waters, uncertain of how deep they run, uncertain of how strong the current might be. This is the crossing every soul must face. The crossing from the known limitation to the unknown possibility. And the only price demanded is the courage to let go of the mind resists this crossing because it fears death. Not physical death, but the death of identity. For what is identity but a collection of beliefs you have rehearsed until you forgot they were choices? The moment you say, I am this kind of person, I am bound by these circumstances, I am defined by this past, you have carved a prison cell for yourself. And yet identity is the most malleable thing in the universe. It shifts the moment you claim a new assumption. I once heard a tale of a sculptor who was asked how he created such lifelike figures from cold stone. He replied, I simply chip away everything that is not the image I see within. That is the work before you, to chip away everything that is not aligned with the vision of who you truly desire to be. Your limitations are nothing but excess stone, false shapes that can be removed if only you stop identifying with them. But here is the truth that stirs both terror and exhilaration. You cannot cling to your limitation and embrace your greatness at the same time. They are mutually exclusive garments. One must be stripped off so the other can be worn. To those who hesitate, who say, but my limitation is all I know, without it who am I? I answer, you are precisely the vast radiant being who waits on the other side of that question. You are the dreamer who has grown lost inside his dream, the playwright who has forgotten he holds the pen. Perhaps you fear that giving up your present limitations means stepping into nothingness, into uncertainty, into a void. But listen, that void you dread is not emptiness. It is the fertile womb of creation. It is the canvas upon which your new life will be painted. Do not call it nothingness, call it possibility. It is the silence before the symphony, the soil before the seed, the blank page before the master. Without it, nothing new can be born. Now ask yourself, What limitation have you held onto so tightly it has begun to feel like your very skin? Is it the belief that you are too old, too young, too unworthy, too late? Is it the story that money never flows to you? That love always escapes you? That dreams are for others but not for you? Whatever it is, dare tonight to loosen your grip. Do not try to reform it or polish it. Release it. Step out of it as you would step out of an ill-fitting garment. For only when you let go of what you are not can you stand in the fullness of what you are. And let me assure you of this. The moment you dare to release your limitation, life itself rushes to fill the space. A vacuum cannot remain. Drop the thought of scarcity and the thought of abundance will come knocking. Drop the identity of rejection and the identity of love will rise. Drop the picture of failure and the picture of triumph will reveal itself. But life will not move first. You must. The act of surrender is yours. The act of fulfillment belongs to the Lord. So I tell you tonight you stand at the threshold of decision. Before you lies the choice to remain in the safety of your familiar prison, or to release it and step into the infinite. No one can make this choice for you. Not destiny, not fate, not chance. The choice is yours alone. And the moment you choose, all of heaven conspires to honor it. Remember this. To hold on to your limitation is to deny your true nature. To release it is to awaken. Now the foundation has been laid. The door of your cage is open. The waters of crossing lie before you. The sculptor's chisel rests in your hand. The question that will carry us into the next stage is this. Are you willing, truly willing, to give up the identity you have clung to so that you may step into the identity you were always meant to live? 2. The invisible roots of your present state. Let us pierce deeper into the mystery. For if the first truth is that you must be willing to surrender your present limitations, the second is this. Your present life is not an accident. It is the harvest of seeds you once planted in imagination. Look around you. Every circumstance, every relationship, every dollar in your pocket, every pattern of health or struggle, it is all fruit. You may look at your life and say, but I did not choose this. I would never have desired such things. Yet I tell you, though you may not have consciously chosen them, you allow them to take root in your imagination. And what is planted within must inevitably appear without. The outer world is not the master. It is the mirror. It reflects back to you the image you carry within, whether you know it or not. And this is the most startling realization. Most people are prisoners, not of the outer world, but of their unseen inner assumption. They wake each morning rehearsing the same thoughts, wearing the same emotional garments, and stepping unconsciously into the same state of being. This inner state is the root. The outer life is only the shadow it casts. Think of a mighty oak tree. You may marvel at its towering branches, its thick trunk, its endless canopy of leaves. But none of these came from what is seen above the ground. They are the visible outpouring of what lies hidden beneath. The roots stretching deep into the soil, feeding, anchoring, drawing life. If you want to change the tree, you cannot simply clip the branches or paint the bark. You must go to the root. And so it is with life. To change what you see, you must tend to what is unseen. Now ask yourself, what roots are you feeding? Do you carry the hidden belief that money is scarce, that life is unfair, that you are unworthy of joy? Those roots will bear bitter fruit. No matter how hard you labor on the branch, you may work longer hours, chase after opportunities, beg for validation, but until the hidden root is changed, the fruit will remain the same. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a woman who walks daily through a garden. Each morning she complains, why do thorns always surround me? Why do weeds always choke the flowers? Why does beauty elude me? Yet unbeknownst to her, each night she scatters seeds of weeds into the soil. She does not know she is doing it. Her hand has grown so used to the motion that it feels natural. She sows doubt, fear, and resentment, without realizing these are seeds. And then each morning, she wakes to the very harvest she has sown. My friends, that woman is not imaginary. She is every soul who fails to recognize the hidden power of their inner assumption. But here lies the glorious promise. If you planted weeds, you can also plant roses. If you have watered fear, you can water faith. If you have lived in the shadow of limitation, you can step into the light of possibility. For the soil of imagination is endlessly fertile. It cares not what you plant, but it always brings forth after its kind. The question is not whether you are imagining, you are always imagining. The question is, what are you imagining? Every idle thought, every secret daydream, every whispered complaint is a seed. And though the harvest may not come tomorrow, it will surely come. For the law of life is perfect, and unyielding. This is why your present limitation feels so heavy. It is not simply an outer condition, but an inner state you have rehearsed so long it has solidified into form. You may say, I am this way because of my circumstances. But the truth is the opposite. My circumstances are this way because of what I have accepted within. Let this awaken you. For if you have unconsciously created your present state, then you can consciously create a new one. Do not curse the harvest. Instead, learn to plant anew. Do not fear the roots that have bound you. Instead, dare to uproot them and replace them with life-giving seeds. How do you do this? Begin with awareness. Watch the conversations you hold in the secrecy of your mind. Notice the way you finish the sentence. I am. Do you say, I am tired? I am poor. I am unlucky. I am forgotten. If so, you are feeding weeds. Stop in that very moment and choose again. I am strong. I am abundant. I am chosen. I am loved. Speak it not as wishful thinking, but as seed. For the soil of imagination does not ask, is this true? It only asks, what do you believe enough to plant? Remember this. The roots are invisible. No one sees them but you. Others may look at your outer life and judge by appearance. They may say, you will never rise. You will never change. You are bound to remain the same. But they do not see the hidden work being done in your inner garden. They cannot see the new roots you are planting in silence, in faith, in solitude. And when the harvest comes, they will call it a miracle. But you will know it was not a miracle. It was law. Let us go further. Every state of being has its own roots. The state of wealth has roots of generosity, expectancy, and confidence. The state of health has roots of wholeness, gratitude, and vitality. The state of love has roots of worthiness, openness, and joy. You cannot dwell in the state of lack and reap the harvest of abundance, any more than you can plant thorns and reap roses. The state you occupy determines the seeds you plant, and the seeds you plant determine the world you live in. Therefore, the call tonight is simple yet profound. Become the gardener of your own soul. Do not leave the soil untended. Do not allow weeds of fear, doubt, and resentment to plant themselves while you are asleep. To your own power, take up the tools of imagination. Plant deliberately, water consistently, and tend carefully. For life will never withhold its harvest. It only waits for the right seed. So when you look at your present limitation, do not despair. See it for what it is. Not a prison, but a harvest. Not a sentence, but a mirror. And know this, harvest can be changed. Mirrors can be altered. Roots can be replaced. You are not bound by what has been. You are free to plant again. Let me leave you with this thought. Your outer world is nothing more than the echo of your inner roots. Change the root and the echo must change. And so we stand at the doorway to the next revelation. If the root is imagination, and the harvest is life, then the great question is this. How do you step deliberately into a new state of being, so that you may plant from it? That, my friends, is where we must journey next. Stepping into the new state. Close your eyes for just a moment and imagine this. You walk into a grand theater, silent and dimly lit. On the stage stands a single wardrobe, filled with endless costumes. Some are rich with silk and gold, others tattered and worn. Each costume represents a state of being: wealth, poverty, health, sickness, love, loneliness, freedom, or bondage. The astonishing truth is this: you are the actor. And every day you walk onto the stage of life wearing one of these garments. The audience, the world, responds to whichever role you have chosen to clothe yourself in. Now here is the power. The wardrobe is infinite, and the choice is always yours. But most souls, tragically, keep wearing the same costume day after day, because it feels familiar. They say, this is just who I am. This is the role life gave me. They forget that the wardrobe is theirs to explore. They forget that new garments hang waiting, untouched, unused, unseen. To step into a new state is nothing more and nothing less than changing your inner garment. It is the conscious decision to abandon the costume of limitation and to clothe yourself in the robe of your desired self. When you change within, life itself must bow and mirror the new identity you have chosen. But how, you may ask, do I make such a change? The answer lies in one of the greatest powers you possess, the power of assumption. Every state has a feeling, a vibration, a secret atmosphere. The state of wealth feels secure, generous, expansive. The state of love feels cherished, radiant, embraced. The state of health feels vibrant, joyful, unshaken. If you would live in any of these states, you must begin by feeling as though they are already true of you. You must enter the atmosphere of the new self before the evidence appears. Imagine a man desiring abundance. He may affirm it with words, yet if he still walks with shoulders bent beneath the weight of worry, if he still rehearses lack in his imagination, then he has not changed garments, he is still clothed in poverty. But the moment he lifts his head, breathes deeply, and begins to feel the quiet dignity of wealth already his, he has stepped into the new state. Even before a coin appears in his hand, the world begins to rearrange itself to match the role he has chosen. Let me give you a picture. Picture a key turned in a lock. You hear the click, and though the door has not yet opened, you know it will. That click is assumption. It is the inner shift, the decisive moment when you say within yourself, I am now this. The door may not swing wide at once, but the outcome is certain. The lock has already yielded. Perhaps you wonder, but what if I do not truly feel it? What if I cannot imagine strongly enough? The answer is simple. Begin where you are. Imagination is like a muscle. If it has grown weak through neglect, it will feel awkward at first, but persistence strengthens it. Tonight, as you lie in bed, instead of rehearsing the struggles of the day, dare to step into a new state. See yourself where you long to be, not as a distant dream, but as if it were already done. Walk through the scene in your mind. Feel its atmosphere. Hear its sounds. Let it become so vivid that when you open your eyes, the room around you feels like the illusion, and your inner scene feels like the reality. This is the art of assumption. And let us be clear, this is not pretending. Pretending is fragile. It collapses at the first contradiction. Assumption, on the other hand, is rooted in faith. It is the inner knowing that what you claim within will be born without. Pretending says, maybe one day. Assumption declares, it is already so. And the world, bound by law, must obey. Think of a seed planted in soil. At first nothing is visible. The ground looks unchanged, yet beneath the surface the seed has already cracked. Roots are spreading. Life is stirring. When you assume a new state, you have planted the seed. Do not dig it up with doubt. Do not trample it with impatience. Simply water it daily with faith and imagination. Soon the first green shoot appears, and eventually the full tree stands where once there was only bare ground. So it is with your life. Now here lies the challenge many stumble upon. They try to live in two states at once. They plant a seed of abundance at night, then dig it up with worry by day. They wear the robe of health in meditation, then clothe themselves in sickness with every word they speak. They affirm love in silence, but rehearse rejection in conversation. This divided kingdom cannot stand. You must choose. Which robe will you wear? Which seed will you tend? Which state will you occupy? Let me share a story. A man desired freedom from debt. Each evening, he imagined holding a letter stamp paid in full. He saw himself walking with lightness, smiling with relief, speaking of freedom. At first the world seemed unmoved. The bills still arrived, but he persisted. Night after night he clothed himself in the state of freedom. Soon opportunities arose, unexpected income, cancelled charges, doors that once were locked, now opened. What others called coincidence, he knew was law. The inner garment he had worn became the outer reality he lived. So I ask you, what garment will you put on tonight? Will you continue to wear the rags of limitation, or will you dare to clothe yourself in the robe of your highest self? Remember, the world is the stage, and you are the actor. The audience does not dictate the costume you do. And the moment you step onto the stage, wearing a new garment, the entire play must shift to match it. Understand this. To step into a new state is not an escape from reality. It is the very act of creating reality. The world outside is not the cause, but the effect. The cause is always within, and the only question that remains is, what cause will you choose to plant tonight? As we move forward, let us prepare to uncover a deeper mystery. Once you step into a new state, how do you remain there unshaken, even when the world tempts you to return to your old garment? That, my friends, will be our next step together. For the discipline of remaining in the state. There is a moment in every transformation when the old world rises up like a ghost, to test your resolve. You have stepped into a new state. You have clothed yourself in the garment of your desired self. And for a brief time you feel the thrill of freedom. But then life seems to whisper, nothing has changed. Look, the bills still arrive, the pain still lingers, the silence of loneliness still echoes. In that moment you stand at the crossroads of destiny. Do you return to the rags of your old self, or do you remain steadfast in the robe of your new identity? Make no mistake, this is the trial every soul must face. It is not a test sent to punish you. It is the shadow of the old state fading away. Like a candle sputtering before it dies, your former limitations flare up one last time, begging you to acknowledge them. If you give them your attention, they revive. But if you remain unmoved, they vanish forever. Remaining in the state is not passive. It is an active choice, a discipline of the spirit. It is the refusal to betray your vision even when the outer world mocks it. It is the unshakable confidence that what you have assumed within is more real than what your eyes presently see. To remain is to say, though the evidence has not yet appeared, I already know it is mine. Think of a farmer who plants a seed. The next morning, he does not dig up the soil to check whether it has sprouted. He does not say, because I see no tree, there is no life. He understands the unseen process is already at work. He waters the soil, guards it from weeds, and waits with patience. So it is with the seed of imagination. If you plant the vision and then uproot it with doubt, you sabotage your own harvest. But if you remain unwavering, the unseen will break forth into the seen in its appointed time. Let me tell you a story. A man once stood at the edge of a desert. He desired an oasis, a place of rest and abundance. Yet before him stretched only dry sand. Instead of cursing the desert, he closed his eyes and walked inward. In his imagination he saw the palms swaying. He heard the water flowing. He felt the coolness of shade on his skin. He held to that vision daily. To the eyes of others he was foolish, for nothing had yet appeared. But he persisted. He remained. And one day, the desert revealed a hidden spring. What seemed impossible unfolded, not by chance, but by law. The oasis was born out of the state he refused to abandon. You must learn to treat the world as shadow and imagination as substance. Most live the opposite way. They bow to appearances and dismiss imagination as fantasy. Yet appearances change with the shifting of the wind, while imagination is the eternal root. What you dare to hold within must eventually clothe itself in matter. The outer follows the inner, as surely as night follows day. But here lies the difficulty. The old state feels comfortable. It whispers, come back. You know me. You've worn me for years. The new state feels uncertain, untested, fragile. Yet only by remaining in the new will it gain strength. At first it feels like stepping onto a new path in the forest, faint and narrow. But the more you walk it, the clearer it becomes, until it is the only path you know. Remaining requires vigilance. Watch your words, for every word is a seed. Do not speak against your vision. If you are clothing yourself in health, do not rehearse the story of sickness. If you are clothing yourself in abundance, do not speak of lack. Speak as the new self would speak. Walk as the new self would walk. Choose as the new self would choose. This is the art of remaining. Let me give you a practical key. When doubt rises, and it will, do not fight it. Fighting strengthens it. Instead, return gently to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply and recall the inner scene you planted. Let it become more vivid than the outer contradiction. In this way, you water the new seed instead of the old weed. Remember, remaining does not mean straining. It means resting in assurance. The river does not struggle to reach the sea. It flows by nature. So too does imagination flow when you stop interfering with doubt and fear. To remain is to trust the current of the unseen to carry you to your destination. There is a great paradox here. The moment you fully remain in a new state, you no longer crave its manifestation. You no longer beg for proof, because you already feel it as true. And it is this very relaxation, this quiet certainty, that allows the outer world to yield. Desperation delays, but calm assurance accelerates. Consider a child who plants a seed in a pot. Every day she waters it with delight, not doubt. She does not fret. She does not say, perhaps nothing is happening. She knows life is unfolding unseen. Her joy is in the certainty of growth. That is how you must remain in childlike faith, in playful expectancy, in quiet assurance. The discipline of remaining will be the measure of your transformation. Many taste the thrill of assumption but abandon it when the outer world resists. Few remain long enough to see the harvest. Yet to those who remain, the promise is sure. The state will harden into fact. So I ask you, what state have you entered that you must now remain in? Have you stepped into the garment of love, of abundance, of strength? Then remain there. Refuse to be shaken. Guard it as a precious treasure. Do not exchange it for the rags of yesterday, for the world will always test you. It will echo your old state one last time to see if you are still bound to it. Smile at the echo. Do not bow to it. It is only the fading shadow of a self you no longer wear. Stand firm in your new identity, and the shadow will vanish. And so the lesson is this: remaining in the state is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. It is the patience of the farmer, the faith of the child, the steadfastness of the dreamer. Without it the seed withers. With it the harvest is inevitable. Now, as we prepare to go deeper, let us turn to the next mystery. If remaining in the state is the discipline, then persistence is the power. How do you persist with such strength that nothing in the outer world can shake your vision? That, my friends, is where our journey takes us next. 15. The power of persistence. There comes a moment in every dreamer's journey when the temptation to surrender is strongest. You have imagined boldly, you have stepped into the state of your desire. You have remained there with faith, but the world has not yet bowed to your vision. Days turn into weeks, and weeks into months, and the question arises like a shadow. Should I give up? This is the hour when most abandon their destiny, but it is also the hour when persistence reveals its divine power. Persistence is not stubbornness of the body, it is steadfastness of the spirit. It is the refusal to release the inner picture no matter how long the outer takes to catch up. It is holding the flame of vision when the winds of doubt blow hardest. It is carrying the torch through the tunnel until the dawn breaks, even when every step feels endless. Understand this truth. The universe yields not to the quick wish, but to the persistent assumption. The one who persists is the one who masters creation, for every outer delay is but the testing ground of inner strength. And those who persist discover that delay is not denial, it is the ripening of the fruit, the preparation of the harvest, the weaving of unseen threads that will present your desire in the perfect way at the perfect time. Think of water carving through stone. At first it seems impossible that soft water could shape a mountain. Yet drop by drop, stream by stream, it cuts valleys, forms rivers, sculpts canyons. Not by force, but by persistence. The stone resists, but water never ceases, and in time the mountain bows. So too with your imagination. The hard rock of appearances cannot withstand the gentle but unyielding stream of persistent vision. Let me tell you a story. A woman once desired a garden in a barren field. She saw roses blooming, vines climbing, fruit trees bending under abundance. Yet when she told her neighbors, they laughed, for the soil was dry and lifeless. But she persisted. Every day she walked the field, watering, tending, speaking to the unseen life. Seasons passed with little sign. Others mocked, saying, nothing grows here. Stop wasting your time. But she persisted. Until one spring morning the first green shoots appeared. The garden came alive, bursting forth with beauty no one believed possible. Why? Because she did not quit. She persisted until the invisible life answered her call. The same law governs your desires. Every vision you hold has life within it. But it is persistence that draws that life into expression. Many abandon their garden before the shoots break the surface. They dig up the seed. They doubt the process. They surrender to appearance. But the one who persists, who waters the soil of imagination day after day, always reaps the harvest. Persistence is not struggle, it is devotion. It is the quiet, repeated turning of your attention back to your wish fulfilled, again and again, until it becomes your dwelling place. When doubts whisper, you return. When fears rise, you return. When appearances contradict, you return. Each return strengthens the new state, until it becomes your natural home. Hear this, you are not asked to force results. You are asked to persist in the assumption. The outer world may resist, but it has no choice but to eventually yield. The outer is clay. The inner is the mold. Shape the mold persistently, and the clay must take form. Imagine a sculptor with a block of marble. Each strike of the chisel seems small, insignificant, almost invisible, yet with persistence, the form emerges. The beauty is revealed. If the sculptor stopped after a few strikes, the masterpiece would remain hidden. But by persistence, the stone yields its treasure. You too are sculpting your world with the chisel of imagination. Each act of persistence, no matter how small, shapes the masterpiece of your destiny. Do not despise the delay. Do not curse the waiting. The unseen is arranging itself in ways you cannot yet perceive. Doors are being prepared. People are being moved. Opportunities are aligning. What seems like silence is actually orchestration. Your role is not to control the timing, but to persist in the vision until the timing delivers what is yours. There will be nights when you feel weary, when the old self calls loudly, when the evidence mocks your faith. In those nights, persistence must become your song. Tell yourself. 6. The secret of Thanksgiving. Gratitude is not something you practice after your desire arrives. It is the atmosphere that calls it forth. To wait until the outer world delivers your blessing before giving thanks is to confess that you are still bound by appearances. But to stand in the silence of your room, to close your eyes and feel the warmth of thanksgiving for that which has not yet appeared, that is power. That is creation. That is faith in its highest form. Think of a banquet prepared in your honor. You walk into the room, the table set, the lights glowing, the fragrance of food filling the air. Do you wait until after you eat to feel grateful? No. You feel it the moment you see the table, the moment you know the feast is yours. In imagination, your desire is already that banquet. The table is already set. Gratitude is your recognition of its reality, even before you take your first bite. True thanksgiving is not words. It is a state. It is the quiet assurance that your desire has already clothed itself in form. It is the inner smile that rises unbidden, the lightness of heart that needs no evidence. It is living as though the invisible were already visible, as though the unseen hand had already delivered the gift into your palm. Gratitude transforms imagination into embodiment. For when you give thanks for what you cannot yet see, you align yourself with the truth that it already exists. And life, faithful as a mirror, begins to reflect back the state you inhabit. The grateful soul does not beg, does not doubt, does not waver. It already possesses in consciousness, and therefore possession in the outer must follow. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who lived in a barren land, where drought had hardened the soil and famine had emptied the granary. Each morning his neighbors looked to the sky with despair, waiting for rain that never came. But this man did something strange. He would walk into his field, close his eyes and lift his hands in thanksgiving, not for rain to come but for rain already given. He would feel the coolness of wet soil under his feet, the fragrance of crops growing, the joy of abundance returning. While others groaned in lack, he rejoiced in harvest. And one season, clouds gathered, rains poured, and his field burst forth in green while the land around remained barren. The difference was not the sky, it was his thanksgiving. Gratitude is not reaction, it is creation. If you wait for conditions to give you a reason to be thankful, you will forever be a servant of circumstance. But if you dare to be thankful before the outer changes, you become the master of circumstance. Gratitude is the evidence of faith, and faith is the substance of things hoped for. Consider this. The universe responds not to begging, but to assumption. And gratitude is the highest form of assumption. When you say thank you, from the depths of your being, you are declaring, it is already mine. Thanksgiving is possession in seed form. It is the invisible hand signing the deed of ownership before the house is built. Try this exercise tonight. Enter the silence, close your eyes and bring before your mind the image of your fulfilled desire. Then instead of asking, instead of waiting, let your heart rise in gratitude. Whisper softly, thank you, thank you, thank you. Not to some distant power, but to the living reality within you that has already completed the work. Do not try to make it happen. Rest in the assurance that it is already done. Let gratitude carry you into sleep, and watch how the unseen moves while you rest. Gratitude shifts the atmosphere of your soul. A complaining heart cannot create. A doubting heart cannot give birth to new realities. But a grateful heart is magnetic, radiant, irresistible. Gratitude dissolves resistance, melts fear, silences doubt. It transforms the waiting room into a place of joy. For you are no longer waiting, you are celebrating in advance. Do you see the difference? The beggar asks, will it come? The grateful one declares, it has come. And the universe always echoes the voice you speak. If you cry lack, life reflects lack. If you sing abundance, life reflects abundance. Gratitude is the song of abundance, sung before the fruit ripens, and the song itself hastens the harvest. Think of a child on their birthday morning. They wake knowing gifts await. Even before they see the wrapping paper, they run into the day with joy, not questioning if the gifts will come. They know their gratitude dances ahead of the evidence, and the joy of their expectation makes the receiving even sweeter. So too must you become as that child, grateful before the wrapping appears, rejoicing before the door opens, celebrating before the form arrives. Some will say, but how can I be thankful for what I do not yet have? And I answer, you do not have it. You have it in the only place creation begins, in imagination. All things are created twice. First inwardly, then outwardly. To deny gratitude until the second creation appears is to deny the first. To be grateful in imagination is to affirm the seed, and by affirming the seed, you guarantee the tree. Look back upon your life. Has there not been a moment when you anticipated something with such certainty that you felt the joy of it long before it came? Perhaps a journey you knew you would take, or a meeting you longed for, or a victory you could already taste. That joy was gratitude. That feeling pulled the event to you. What if you lived that way always, rejoicing not only after, but before, not only when you see, but when you imagine? Then your life would become an unbroken stream of answered prayers. So tonight I challenge you, stop waiting for evidence to move you into gratitude. Move into gratitude, and evidence will follow. Live in thanksgiving, and you will discover that your world bends itself to reflect your thankful heart. Gratitude is the fragrance of fulfillment. It is the atmosphere of answered prayer. It is the magnet of miracle. If you will live in thanksgiving, your world will overflow with blessings, not because life suddenly became generous, but because you finally aligned with the generosity that was always within you. And now, having discovered the secret of thanksgiving, we must journey further into the mystery. For there is a deeper truth. Your state of being is contagious. What you radiate within yourself not only shapes your world, but also touches everyone around you. The atmosphere you carry becomes the environment others breathe. And this, my friends, is where we turn next. 7. The radiance of your inner state. There is a light that shines from within you, a light so subtle, so powerful, that it shapes the world before your eyes even notice it. Most people live unaware of this inner radiance. They believe that the world outside controls their experience, that circumstances dictate their joy, their success, their love. But the truth, profound and immutable, is this. Your inner state radiates outward and molds the universe in its reflection. Consider the sun. Its light travels unseen across vast distances, touching every leaf, every stream, every living creature. It does not ask for permission. It does not struggle to be noticed. It simply shines, and the world bends itself to receive the gift. So too is the light of your consciousness. When you inhabit a state of abundance, love, health, or joy, the world responds. Your radiance attracts, shapes, and transforms, often in ways you cannot yet perceive. Imagine a garden at dawn. The gardener rises early, tending each plant with care, whispering words of encouragement. The garden does not obey out of fear, but it flourishes because it senses the devotion of the gardener. Your inner state is the gardener. The world is the garden. What you carry within determines the bloom, the fragrance, and the abundance of your surroundings. Let me tell you a story. A woman walked daily among strangers, carrying a light in her heart that no one could see but everyone felt. Her gratitude, her calm, her joy radiated so strongly that even in crowded streets, tension would dissolve around her. People she had never met smiled at her. Doors opened unexpectedly, opportunities arrived without effort. It was not magic, it was law. Her inner state, radiant and unwavering, created the outer world that mirrored it. Notice this carefully. Your state is contagious, whether you intend it or not. The fear you carry spreads faster than your words. The doubt you harbor infects the conversations you have, the rooms you enter, the decisions you make. Conversely, the strength, the love, the certainty within you also spread. When you inhabit the state of your fulfilled desire, you are not only creating your own life, you are shaping the environment, the interactions, the very atmosphere in which your destiny unfolds. Many fail to see this because they focus only on outcomes. They look at a bank account, a relationship, a promotion, a physical manifestation, and assume the power lies in the external. Yet the real power is in the invisible radiance, the sustained state of consciousness that projects outward and brings those things into form. Change the inner light, and the outer shadows must shift. The world is a mirror reflecting what you carry within. Here is a practical way to harness this radiance. Every morning before the demands of the day pull you into distraction, close your eyes and enter the state you wish to radiate. See it clearly. Feel the joy, the abundance, the love, the peace as already present. Imagine every step you take today emanating from that state. Picture your interactions flowing from that light. By doing so, you are not hoping to influence the world. You are already influencing it from the source. Unseen but unshakable. Think of a musician tuning a piano. If one string is off, the entire composition is affected. When every string is in perfect harmony, the music flows effortlessly, captivating all who hear it. Your inner state is the tuning of your soul. Align it, and every encounter, every situation, every opportunity resonates with your frequency. Discord cannot touch you, because you no longer vibrate at the level of resistance. You vibrate at the level of creation. There is a subtlety here many overlook. You do not need to force your state outward. Radiance is not shouting, performing, or displaying. It is quiet and invisible, yet undeniable. Like fragrance carried on the wind, it moves, touches, and transforms without struggle. People may not know why they feel drawn to you, why doors open, why opportunities appear. They are responding to the invisible law of radiance you have chosen to inhabit. Let me illustrate further. A man dreamed of success, not merely for wealth, but for influence, for the ability to inspire others. He began each day imagining the energy of confidence, calm, and clarity emanating from him. He did not chase success with frantic effort. He moved through the world as though it already responded to his inner state. Meetings went in his favor, decisions aligned naturally, and people gravitated toward him. The radiance of his inner state had magnetized the outer world to his vision. Now consider this truth. The stronger your inner state, the more effortless the outer manifestation. When your light burns bright, obstacles fade, coincidences multiply, doors swing open, and resistance melts away. It is not luck. It is law. The universe does not resist the vibration of fulfillment. It bows to it. And the higher, the more consistent, the more joyful your inner state, the more complete the reflection becomes. This is why you must protect and cultivate your inner state. Do not allow fleeting doubts, negative reports, or external chaos to dim your light. Like a lighthouse in the storm, remain steadfast in your radiance. Others may falter, circumstances may challenge you, yet the light you hold within continues to illuminate the path for yourself and for those who cross your path. And here lies the next great revelation. The radiance of your inner state does not just create your own reality. It awakens and inspires the potential in others. Every person you meet is touched by the vibration you carry. Your faith can spark another's hope. Your courage can ignite someone's action. Your joy can awaken someone's gratitude. By radiating the state of your fulfilled desire, you not only manifest your life, you multiply the effect throughout the collective experience around you. So ask yourself, what state are you radiating? Are you unconsciously broadcasting doubt, fear, or limitation? Or are you consciously emanating joy, love, abundance, and certainty? The world bends to the vibration it perceives. If you wish to shape your destiny, you must first shape your radiance. Remember, your outer circumstances are not the measure of your state. They are the reflection. Guard your inner light, nurture it, and let it shine. What you radiate inwardly will inevitably manifest outwardly. The invisible always precedes the visible. And now, as we move forward, let us turn to the next revelation. If your inner state radiates and shapes the world around you, then your next step is to consciously direct that energy to every corner of your life, to every desire yet unmanifest. How do you become the deliberate creator of everything you envision? That is where our journey continues in the next section. Directing your radiance with intention. Have you ever watched a skilled archer release an arrow? The bowstring hums under tension. The arrow flies with precision, and it strikes the target exactly as intended. There is no randomness, no hesitation, no error. Now, consider this. Your inner state is the bow, your imagination is the arrow, and your focused intention is the aim. When you combine clarity, persistence, and gratitude, you strike every target you set within your consciousness, and the world bends to meet it. Many live as though they are wandering archers, releasing arrows at random, hoping that life will respond to chance. They desire wealth but dwell in scarcity, imagine love but dwell in loneliness, seek health but dwell in fear. The arrow cannot reach the mark unless the bow is steady, the string is taut, and the archer's aim is deliberate. So it is with the inner life. Every desire requires focus, every intention requires direction, and every manifestation requires alignment between imagination and feeling. Picture this. A child standing before a vast field of flowers. Each flower represents a desire, each bloom a possibility. The child can reach only one at a time, and yet by focusing completely on one bloom, seeing its colors, feeling its fragrance, touching its petals in the mind, that flower bends toward the child. By concentrating the mind and heart together, the invisible becomes visible. The law is the same for every human soul. Your concentrated inner vision directs the energy of life to fulfill your desire. Let me tell you a story. A man desired freedom from limitations, yet his mind wandered constantly between doubt and hope. One evening he paused and imagined a life fully free, a life where opportunity flowed, joy radiated, and obstacles bowed. He closed his eyes and felt every detail, the weightlessness of accomplishment, the laughter of loved ones, the inner peace of mastery. He focused without distraction, without wavering. Days later, an opportunity he had not imagined appeared, perfectly aligned with the vision he had nurtured. What brought it forth? Not luck, not chance, but the directed radiance of his inner state, aimed precisely at the target of his imagination. Focus is the secret multiplier of imagination. You can hold a vision, but if your attention is scattered, if your mind oscillates between desire and doubt, the energy disappears. The universe does not respond to wishes, whispered and abandoned. It responds to clarity, intensity, and unwavering direction. Just as a lighthouse beam pierces darkness only when unwavering, your inner radiance only manifests when it is intentionally direct. Consider your life as a vast canvas, blank yet full of potential. Every thought, every feeling, every act of imagination is a brushstroke. Scatter them randomly, and the picture is confused and incomplete. Direct them consciously, and a masterpiece emerges. Your radiance, when aimed with deliberate intention, becomes the brush that paints your reality exactly as you envision it. Now here's the subtlety. It is not enough to wish for something superficial. You must enter the state of fulfillment, live as though the desire is complete, and radiate that state outward with unwavering focus. Feel it, taste it, speak it silently to your soul. Let every fiber of your being resonate with the certainty that what you aim at inwardly is already reached. Then release the arrow of intention without hesitation. The outer world will align. Let me give you a practical method. Each morning before the day begins, close your eyes and bring before your imagination the desire you wish to manifest. Not a vague hope, but a vivid scene, alive with emotion, complete in detail. Feel it as already fulfilled. Immerse yourself in its reality for several minutes. Let gratitude swell as though you are already living it. Then open your eyes and carry that directed radiance with you. Your words, actions, and presence will vibrate in harmony with the intention you have set. Think of the power of a single drop of water falling into a still pond. At first it seems insignificant, yet the ripple spreads outward, touching every surface, reaching every corner. Your focused radiance works in the same way. Each concentrated thought, each deliberate act of imagination extends outward into the world, creating ripples that eventually become waves of manifestation. Small, consistent focus builds unstoppable momentum. The key is alignment. Your imagination, your feelings, your words, and your actions must all point in the same direction. Scatter in any of these and the energy weakens. Align them fully, and you create a force as unstoppable as the tide. To direct your radiance with intention is to become a conscious creator, sculpting life as surely as a master shapes clay. And let us be clear, this power is universal. It does not favor the wealthy or the learned, the young or the old. It responds only to clarity, consistency and feeling. The child who dreams, the artisan who imagines, the soul who dares to see what has not yet appeared, all wield this power equally. The only difference between those who manifest and those who wait endlessly is the conscious direction of inner radiance. So I ask you now, what is the target of your imagination? Where will you aim your inner bow? Where will your arrow of intention fly? Take a moment, close your eyes, picture it vividly, feel it fully, radiate it with unwavering focus. Know that the universe listens, responds and bends itself in obedience to your directed state. Remember this. Manifestation is not a hope tossed into the wind. It is a directed, intentional force. The clarity of your aim determines the precision of the outcome. Scatter your attention, and the world scatters with it. Concentrate with feeling, and the world concentrates to deliver. This is the secret of conscious creation, the next step in mastering your life. And now, as we prepare to move forward, we must explore the final step, the art of letting go while trusting the law. The dance between intention and surrender. How do you release the arrow of your inner state and allow life to respond without interference? That, my friends, is the final revelation we approach in the next section. 9. The art of letting go. There is a moment in every journey when the most powerful act of creation is not effort, but surrender. You have imagined vividly, remained steadfast in your state, persisted with unshakable faith, radiated your inner power and directed your intention with precision. Yet if you clutch too tightly to the outcome, if your mind hovers anxiously over every detail, the very law you have mastered resists. True creation requires the delicate art of letting go. Letting go does not mean abandoning your vision. It does not mean wavering, doubting, or losing focus. On the contrary, it is the quiet confidence that your desire is already fulfilled. It is the wisdom to know that the universe, now perfectly aligned with your inner state, will orchestrate the manifestation in its own way, in its own time, and often in ways more magnificent than you could have imagined. Imagine a bird in flight. You can guide it toward a perch with gentle encouragement, but if you grip it too tightly, it will struggle, resist, and perhaps never reach its destination. Freedom is found in trust, so it is with your desire. Hold it firmly in imagination, but release it lovingly into the current of life. Allow the unseen to arrange the circumstances, to align the events, and to bring the manifestation without interference from fear or doubt. Let me tell you a story. A man longed for abundance, for a life where opportunity flowed freely. He visualized it, he felt it, he radiated it, and he persisted daily. Yet at some point he realized that his obsession with how and when was blocking the flow. One evening he closed his eyes and imagined the abundance as if it were already his. He whispered inwardly, "It is done. I release it, and I trust it will come." The next day, opportunities arrived unexpectedly, in forms he had never anticipated, yet perfectly aligned with the vision he had held. By letting go, he allowed the invisible to act without obstruction. The paradox is profound. The more you release, the more life delivers. Resistance and attachment create friction, but trust and surrender create flow. You do not relinquish power, you simply allow the law of creation to operate unhindered. Your imagination has planted the seed, your feeling has nurtured it, and now the universe must bring it forth. To clutch it tightly is to choke the life from it. To release it is to allow it to grow. Consider a river. You cannot hold the current in your hands. You cannot command the wave. You can only trust the flow, guiding it with intention if necessary, but never grasping. The river reaches its destination not because you control it, but because you allow it to follow its course. So too with your desires. Guide with imagination, direct with intention, fuel with persistence, and then trust the current of life to bring them into form. Letting go also requires faith in the unseen. You must believe that your inner state, which you have cultivated with diligence and joy, has already set in motion the forces needed for manifestation. There is no need to second guess, no need to manipulate the details. The unseen moves in perfect order, invisible threads weaving together to present your desire at the exact moment it is most ready. Imagine a gardener who plants a tree. Each day, the gardener waters, nourishes, and protects the seed. Yet the seed grows in its own time, unseen beneath the soil. The gardener does not dig up the seed daily to check its progress. To do so would disrupt the growth. Instead, the gardener trusts that the invisible processes are at work, and waits patiently for the moment the shoot breaks through the earth. So it is with your manifestation. Release attachment and allow the unseen to bring the visible. There is also an inner freedom in letting go. When you release the need to control, you free yourself from anxiety, fear, and impatience. You dwell in the joy of the present, feeling as though your desire is already complete, without needing the outer evidence to validate it. This joy itself is powerful. It radiates outward, amplifying your state and accelerating the manifestation in ways that effort and control never could. Let me give you a practical method. Each night, before sleep, visualize your fulfilled desire as vividly as possible. Feel it completely, its sounds, its textures, its emotions. Then, in a quiet act of trust, release it. Say to yourself, it is done. I release it, and I trust it. It is unfolding in perfect order. Sleep in that state of assurance. Let the universe move while your mind rests. The act of letting go is not passive. It is a dynamic, powerful alignment with the law of creation. Think of it this way. Your imagination and feeling have set the compass. Persistence has directed the course. Gratitude has energized the journey. Now letting go is the sail catching the wind. Without the sail, the boat moves only as much as you push. With the sail, the current carries you effortlessly to the shore of your fulfilled desire. The outer world, like the wind, cannot resist a vessel perfectly aligned with the unseen law. The wisdom here is subtle, yet life-changing. Creation is a dance between intention and surrender. Hold the vision tightly enough to cultivate it, but loosely enough to let the universe orchestrate the manifestation. Direct your radiance, persist in the state, rejoice in gratitude, and then release with faith. This is the final rhythm of mastery, the alchemy of turning imagination into reality, without struggle, without doubt, without fear. And so, as we prepare to conclude this journey, know that the art of letting go does not diminish your power, it magnifies it. By releasing attachment to outcome while maintaining unwavering faith, you step fully into the role of the conscious creator. Your desires unfold naturally, effortlessly, perfectly aligned with the law that governs all things. In the final section, we will bring together all the principles we have explored: imagination, persistence, gratitude, radiance, deliberate intention, and letting go, into a single unified vision of transformation. We will see how mastering each step leads to a life where limitations no longer exist and where your desires become your living reality. 10. The mastery of your own life. Imagine standing atop a high cliff at sunrise, the vast horizon stretching endlessly before you. The winds of possibility rush past, the sky glows with infinite potential, and the world below waits to reflect the state you carry within. This is the moment of realization, the moment you understand that everything you have learned, everything you have practiced, every step of imagination, persistence, gratitude, radiance, focused intention, and letting go culminates here. You are no longer a passive observer of life. You are the conscious architect of your own reality. From this vantage point, limitations vanish. The fears, doubts, and constraints that once seemed permanent dissolve into nothingness, for you have discovered the eternal truth. Your outer world is only a reflection of your inner state. Nothing exists outside that you have not first cultivated within. Every circumstance, every relationship, every experience is drawn to you by the vibration of your consciousness. And now, knowing this, you hold the ultimate key to mastery. Let me tell you a story. A traveler wandered for years through barren landscapes, searching for water, warmth, and shelter. Every day he asked, he hoped, he pleaded, but relief never came. One night, exhausted, he paused and closed his eyes. He imagined a flowing river, a sun-warmed field, a home filled with abundance. He saw it so vividly that his heart leapt, as if it were already real. The next morning he found a spring hidden in the rocks, a path leading to fertile lands, a shelter awaiting him. Not because he had searched harder, but because he had imagined fully, believed completely, and let go of resistance. His inner vision had called forth the outer reality. The mastery of life is exactly this, to live from the state you wish to experience, rather than the circumstance that currently surrounds you. To dwell in the feeling of fulfillment, the joy of creation, the certainty of your desire, and to persist without hesitation or fear. When you act from this state, you are no longer subject to chance or limitation. You move through life with an unseen authority that shapes events, draws people, and opens doors effortlessly. Consider a musician playing a grand composition. Each note, each pause, each crescendo is guided by the inner understanding of the piece. The music flows not from effort alone, but from mastery of rhythm, feeling, and expression. Life, too, is your composition. Your imagination is the melody, your feelings are the rhythm, your thoughts are the chords, and your inner state is the conductor. When aligned, you orchestrate a life that harmonizes with your deepest desire, persistence, gratitude, radiance, directed intention, and letting go are not separate steps. They are instruments in the symphony of creation. When they play together in harmony, the universe itself becomes the audience and the collaborator. Every challenge transforms into opportunity, every obstacle bends into alignment, and every desire unfolds as if guided by divine choreography. And here is a secret few understand. Mastery is not measured by the size of your achievements, but by the consistency of your inner state. A person may achieve much through effort, struggle, and external manipulation, yet remain limited, anxious, and unfulfilled. True mastery comes from living within the fulfilled state, radiating it consistently, and allowing the outer world to reflect the inner certainty. You do not force reality, you embody it. You do not chase it, you become it. Think of a candle in darkness. Its flame does not fight the night, it simply shines. The darkness retreats naturally, unresisted, unforced. So too is your inner state. Shine with the certainty of your fulfilled desire. Let the light of imagination, feeling, and faith radiate without struggle. Let the universe respond. Let your life unfold as a reflection of the inner reality you inhabit. Every thought you hold, every feeling you nurture, every image you create is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Until now, you may have painted sporadically, guided by circumstance and outside influence. But mastery transforms you into a deliberate artist. Each stroke is conscious, each color intentional, each moment a continuation of the vision you hold. And when the painting is complete, the beauty of your creation is unmistakable. Not because you struggled to control every detail, but because you understood the law and moved in harmony with it. The greatest mastery is also the simplest. Know what you want, feel it is already yours. Persist in that state. Give thanks, radiate, focus with intention, and release with trust. All else is secondary, all else is distraction. When these principles are lived fully, consistently, and deeply, you are no longer bound by the limitations of circumstance. You are the creator, the director, the conductor, the master of your own existence. And so, as we conclude this journey, let your heart embrace this truth. You are unlimited, eternal, and the architect of every moment to come. The power you seek is not somewhere out there. It has always been within you, waiting for recognition, waiting for deliberate action, waiting for trust. Now equipped with understanding, practice, and faith, you stand ready to live a life where dreams are not distant hopes, but the natural unfolding of the state you inhabit. Look once more at the horizon of your life. See the boundless possibilities stretching infinitely, reflecting the radiance within. Feel the certainty of your mastery. Take a deep breath and know every desire, every vision, every dream is yours to call forth. The universe waits only for your inner alignment, your deliberate state, and your unwavering trust. You are now fully and consciously the master of your own life. Carry this truth forward, not as theory, not as hope, but as reality. Live it, breathe it, radiate it, persist in it, let go into it, and watch as your world becomes a perfect mirror of the extraordinary life you have already created in consciousness. The journey does not end here. It begins anew with every thought, every feeling, every moment of conscious creation. Step boldly into the life you have imagined. You are unlimited. You are powerful. You are the living embodiment of your own dreams. And now the world bows naturally to the state you have chosen to inhabit.